Why does it only say the Captain's Log 4? It should say 46.
We've gone back. No.
And I go to edit the thing, and it's correct in the thing. I don't know why.
Up.
There we go. Something worked. There it is.
Okay.
There we go. Welcome to episode 46 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. Not episode 4, like it was just stubbornly being like, I'm just not going to display the 6. Everything is good now. Thank you, Sam. Sam is our guinea pig to make sure everything is going on correctly and normal. Hey, how did you hear the new like wait music stuff at the start? Did you by chance catch the like stream starting soon page thing that we had going on? Because I tried to update the music to a different song, and hopefully down the road, the idea is that the music will randomize. I don't know if that's exactly possible, but I have some new songs that I cooked up in GarageBand. So yeah, there we go. We have some fun and exciting stuff happening. Melissa, I have a question for you though, right
off the bat. Okay, what is it?
So I'm wondering if we need some kind of hook at the beginning of the episode for the YouTube version specific. I guess it could work in the audio podcast only version as well, but a lot of things will have like a stinger at the start to be like, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about this week. Stay tuned for more. Theme song. And then and then that. Should we do something like that? Or alternatively, there's another podcast that I listen to that instead of being like, we're going to do topic A, B, and C, they clip out a really funny section from the podcast and put that at the start as like, hey, here's this really funny moment. There's going to be more of that. There's more of that where that came from.
Like the beginning of a reality show where it's like that pre-cap sort of thing. Like, this is what you're going to see this week on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I don't know what modern reality shows are.
Neither do I. So I'm saying kind of hesitantly, but let's say I'm aware of the concept, yes.
Yeah,
let's say you say something really embarrassing and it's really funny, and we were just like, wow, who knew that Melissa was that messed up?
Well, it all started an hour and a half ago when we began the podcast.
Exactly. On episode 4. So, like, that whole thing could be, like, the first, like, 20 seconds of the show to be like, that's what's gonna happen. Roll the theme song, and then, boom, welcome to episode 46. And we'll get down to business there, and then they'll eventually get the full context of how it came to be. Sam says a D&D podcast I used to listen to would have an outtake as their hook because I would never hear the hook in the episode. I've seen stuff like that at the end of stuff, like a blooper thing. It's an interesting idea to put one at the start. Yeah. I don't really edit these that much to be like, let's chop this whole section out or take out the ums and ers and all that stuff because that's way too much work. I used to do all of that, and I was just like, nope, I'm done with that. So what do you think?
I don't know. I haven't watched any video podcasts. If something's got my attention, it's got my attention. I'm not like, well, show me what you've got or else I'm leaving.
It's not even like video podcast per se, but just YouTube videos. In
longer YouTube videos, which I'm not typically going for.
I've seen short ones too.
I will leave it up to you. You're the guy who puts all this stuff together. I think if there is a funny clip, you can put it at the beginning. But if we're just not snappy that week, you could try this week. You can hear us talk about these 5 topics. You can just record some pickup audio before you put it up.
Top five lists.
I do like that.
There you go. How was your week, Melissa?
It's okay.
Yeah?
Again,
Okay does not sound convincing.
It's the same thing that happens every week, Kyle. Like, I can't think about anything that is not my job.
How was your job? Did you get upset at Sally? Did you smack the shit out of Frank? Tell me about it.
Work is good. I got some free chips yesterday because a guy went to Qdoba and get some chips and queso, and he's like, I'm done eating these. Do you want the rest? And I'm like, hold on. What kind of a trick is this? Because nobody doesn't finish that. You're not just giving this away for free. And he's like, no, I ate plenty. It's yours now.
There you go.
Like, it's good, but it's unsettling.
Was it only chips, or did he have, like, left?
No, it's the chips and the queso.
Okay. Gotcha. Just making sure he didn't, like, skimp out and be like, sorry, I finished all the queso, but you can have these leftover chips.
I would eat a pile of chips. I'm that person that will eat anything that somebody offers. We've got a lot of, like, public shared spaces in our office building. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of mystery food all over the place.
I'm oddly kind of that person for my household. Like, they'll just be left over stuff, or like we did a barbecue for my roommate's birthday, and we had a bunch of left over PBR and stuff. Mm-hmm. And both of my roommates are on like a no carb diet, so it was just like, well, we have all this bread and burgers and beer. I was like, I'm fine with that. How about that birthday cake?
Yeah, yes.
So they're always like, you can have this stuff, and I was like, sweet, sounds good to me.
A childhood thing that I miss in my adult life, even though I very easily could supply it for myself, but it's not the same anymore, is when Dad would just go to Taco Bell and just get a bunch of everything. Like, here, kids, I forget what you like. I don't know how much you eat at a time anymore. I don't know what your portions are. Here's just a big bag of stuff. And, like, you'd eat it on Friday night, and then sometimes Saturday morning when you're a kid and you get up early and you're watching cartoons at, like, 8 a.m., mm-hmm. and then it's 11, but Mom and Dad haven't made lunch yet. You can look in the fridge like, there's one gordita left. That's perfect.
There you go. Oh, man, I still have the social media things on. There we go. They're off. They're fixed.
Follow me for more Taco Bell-based content.
That's always good content.
What is your favorite Taco Bell item?
I'm actually not much of a Taco Bell fan. My dad and I used to have a little, like, jingle that we would sing whenever we passed by a Taco Bell. It was Taco Bell, you think you've died and gone to hell when you eat at Taco Bell.
It's got such a weird rep. I've never had a bad time about a Taco Bell.
I'm a very picky eater. I can go there now and I'm perfectly fine. But I'm not big on vegetables all that much. So I don't like onions. I don't like tomatoes. I don't like lettuce. So especially when I was really young, Mexican food was, like, very big on that stuff. There are peppers. There are tomatoes. Still is. But like I distinctly remember going to Taco Bell one time. I don't think this was my first time, but it was one of the first times where it's like, okay, if I want to eat, I have to eat, like, now, and this is where we're going. So I asked for a cheese quesadilla, just chicken and cheese. Yeah. And for some reason, I think the person at the drive-thru didn't understand that exactly, of just like, only chicken and only cheese. We don't want the extra stuff. Because here comes, super pasty McPale white person coming up to Taco Bell. Where I grew up was also, like, very Hispanic, or like El Salvadorian specifically. So it was just like, here's these pasty McPale white people who don't speak a lick of Spanish and don't know anything about Mexican food. And it didn't come with nothing on it. It had everything, and I was just like, why does how do you screw this up? Like, this is so simple. Only chicken and only cheese, and so I was traumatized as a young child by Taco Bell, and I was just like, I hate Taco Bell. And then there were all the stories of like, oh, the meat at Taco Bell is really, really bad. It's disgusting. You shouldn't eat there. And
I might be some sort of a garbage person, but I love all the fast food, and I always have a good time.
I like fast food too. Don't get me wrong, but Taco Bell was just one of those things. When I was younger, I couldn't do it.
I liked them all.
I think, to answer your question though, there was something that I don't think they have anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it was like their volcano burrito or something like that. I don't know if that's it.
Yeah, I don't track those because I don't do the spicy stuff.
It was like rice and chicken and cheese, and I think there was some peppers and stuff in there as well. But then it had it wasn't hot Cheetos. It must have been the hot Fritos that they put on it. But then they wrapped it all in a burrito, and it was really good. And then I think it ended up being like, we only had it for like a year, and I was like, well, I only ate here for a year then.
I enjoy the quesarito. It's like a little burrito, but with the outer, it's not a tortilla. It's two of them with cheese in the middle. It's a whole quesadilla wrapped around a burrito. And it sounds more decadent than it actually is, but it's kind of cheesy and gooey, and there's rice in it, and something about the cheesy, gooey rice really hits me. Try a quesarito in your future.
I think I've had one, but it was a long time ago when I was still in college. Sam, I don't remember if it was the chili cheese burritos. I oddly remember them being red. I'm not a big
There are red Fritos. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know all of the flavors and nuance that goes into a bag of Fritos. So, there you go. So let's see what happened this week. All right, first of all, Avengers tickets. Did you get
that
yours?
Is one important thing I did do this week. Yes. Okay, so when did they go on sale? Like Wednesday?
I think so. Like Wednesday morning.
Yeah, so I get up in the morning, I see the new trailer's out and the tickets are on sale. And I text my friend like, "Okay, the tickets are on sale. What day are we going?" Because we agreed that the day it comes out, we were going to both take vacation days and make a whole day out of it. And I'm like, were we talking Thursday or Friday? And she's like, we're going to do Friday. So I put in my request for Friday. And I'm like, we'll get tickets when I'm out of work. And then everybody I talked to was like, yeah, I already went and got my tickets. I'm like, oh, I got to get on this. I can't fall behind. I believe that my saving graces would be that we're going to a big theater that is fairly out in the suburbs. Okay. Like, it's not central to a lot of locations. And we were going during the day. So like, I think these factors will save us.
So I wasn't not going Thursday evening then.
No, we're doing Friday during the day.
Cool.
We're going to have like a 3-day weekend, have a whole time about it. We haven't decided what events are going to surround this yet.
I would suggest lots of margaritas.
Oh, dang, we might just do that. There's a really good Mexican place by this theater.
There you go.
Guy Fieri went there once on an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And regardless of how you feel about the man...
a story that we will have to come back to.
I think regardless of how you feel about the man, the restaurants he visits on that show do tend to be very good, and this place is great. We've been there a couple times. This is what we did.
Called?
It's called Espino's.
Espino's.
I don't know why you would be in Chesterfield, Missouri, but you're welcome to join us and go to the big old Galaxy Theater. We're going to a 4:00 showing.
Okay.
I wanted something earlier in the day when we could have a better pick of seats. My friend is like, no. If we do it too early in the day, it's just going to feel anticlimactic. Like, let's save it a little bit. So we're going to go at like 4. it's such a long movie, we'll probably want like a late 8:30 dinner. So this might be a day when we're out and like, okay, we're bookending this with a lunch and a dinner. Who knows?
Yeah, make a whole day out of it.
That's the plan. We still got to figure out what are there themed activities we could do? We try this for everything.
Trying to think if there's something that goes along with Endgame of like what you could do to. I mean, you could go kill someone. Who knows?
We are not going to do that. We might go walk around the big furniture store that also sells like arcade machines and pool tables and not skee ball, like foosballs and air hockey tables and all of that. There's a giant, super fancy furniture store by this theater, and it's our favorite place to wander into when we just have like 20 minutes to kill before a movie, and they're like, can we help you with something? And we're like, no, we're just bored and we want to look at fancy things. And they're like, okay, we get it. Have fun. Go play with our arcade machines.
Things.
Yep. So that involves games.
That's good. That sounds like fun. I bought mine like once I saw the first link that they were up. I was like, I'm getting mine now. And I went to the Fandango app. I had to wait 20 minutes because I was in a queue of behind like 8 people.
Yes, this is what I've heard. I was listening to my favorite Disney podcast, the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, and today they were talking about ordering their tickets, and one of the co-hosts is like, yeah, I was in a wait line for over an hour trying to get my tickets.
I looked out then.
So I guess it's good. I waited until like 7 or 8 p.m. that night.
Yeah. So I'm going opening night, which they always do that stupid thing where they say opening night or opening day is that Friday, but it's really that like Thursday afternoon, and they just don't acknowledge that it actually opens on Thursday.
Maybe they can't call it like an opening day unless it has showings over more than like 6 hours or something like that.
It might be something with that, and I think it's also just to get the theaters more money. Because the midnight showings, while like special, while they were still I mean, you can still go to a midnight showing when a new movie comes out, but they started doing them earlier, I think, to accommodate like parents of younger children who want to go see something and can't like sneak out at like midnight. You know, they have to go when they get off of work or something. But that also kind of opens it up to more people. Means more money, which means a longer like weekend box office thing.
Yeah.
Too. So that could be part of it. Who knows? But I'm going Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh.
I'm going to be stoked. It's the first showing at this theater. I'm going to go straight from work and probably going to have to wait in a long line because I'm sure it's going to be packed.
See, this is what we didn't want to do. We've gone to too many movies like, okay, let's see it as early as we can. And we go to like the Thursday night or the Friday night. And we found we're just too tired, and we have a good time. And we like the movie while we're watching it. But afterwards, like, we are too tired to retain anything. This happened to me with Into the Spider-Verse.
Too hyped and too excited. I'm just like, I'm going to be up all night thinking about this and thinking about theories and everything.
No, my work is too involved. I get exhausted. Like, I saw Into the Spider-Verse, like, opening night. I was so excited. I really loved it, like, while I was watching it. And, like, the next morning, I'm like, what happened in that movie? I remember, like, 3 things.
That movie's so good, though. I
know it's so good. I could not retain any new information. Like, by the end of the week, my brain had hit, like, a watermark point. Like, okay, too high. There's room for 3 more things, and you're going to remember Aunt May, that scientist woman with the big hair, and John Mulaney. Those are the 3 things you get.
There you go. I have a space on my wall where I want to get some posters and frame them, and because I since I don't have my desk in this whole podcast set up in my room, there's a little bit more space that I just have open now, so I need to figure out how to like actually decorate my room and stuff. And I used to have other like comic book related posters and stuff like that. But now I think I want to get like certain ones. Or not necessarily specific posters, but things that I know I really, really like. And I was thinking of getting the poster to Into the Spider-Verse and then framing them and just getting a couple different things. Like a Cowboy Bebop poster or something. Or something.
I had a Cowboy Bebop poster when I was a kid. Like a 10-year-old, not like a kid. And I don't like. I don't know where.
10-year-old is a kid.
I mean, I think 10 is like as early as you probably could have watched that show. So like that early, but not before. I had a Cowboy Bebop poster, and I don't know. I think just in between like moving to college and like having 2 apartments, I don't know where it went to. But I want to see if I can dig it up again because I love that thing.
You know, did you hear the news about John Cho being cast as Spike?
Oh, nice! I did not hear that. That's great. I love John Cho.
So Netflix is working on a live action adaptation, and that's one of those things that it's like, they didn't do Death Note very well. And I know it wasn't Netflix, but the Ghost in the Shell thing didn't go over so well either. Who knows what's gonna happen with this one? It's always dicey to see live action stuff.
I think
anime.
A disappointing track record doesn't mean everything's gonna be disappointing from then on, because then there's like stakes. Like, okay, we can't do that again. Like that's why I've got really high hopes.
But Hollywood does it again.
No, well, that's why I've got really high hopes for like that live action Avatar series they're gonna do, because it was such a disaster the first time. They're like, no, none of those ideas. We're doing everything differently now. Like they're not going to let it happen to themselves again.
So, side note, since you mentioned Avatar, I don't know if it was a recent article or not. If it was news that was just coming out, or if it's something I missed a long time ago. But I saw something circulating this past week that basically said they canned a 4th season of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original cartoon, in favor of the M. Night Shyamalan movie that happened. And so if he wasn't going to do the movie, there was potentially going to be a 4th season of that show, according to one of the head writers. I just saw stuff on Twitter, so I didn't read into it much. Or if that's a new thing or not, but I saw that and I was just like, I'm never gonna get that hour and a half of my life back. But yeah, so they announced that John Cho is going to be playing Spike in Netflix's live action. They have the whole crew. They haven't announced who's gonna be playing Ed yet.
Oh, Ed, yes.
But they have Faye and they have Jet and all of that stuff.
Let me look this up. This sounds great because I think about John Cho and his face has like the correct shape. Like he's just pointy enough for the job. Oh, like it's not like I love him to begin with, but I'm like, yes. Oh, like he's gonna be such a neat visual match. I like that.
Yeah, I think he'll do well.
What a good.
Yes.
Oh,
Sam says, I hated that movie so fucking much. I watched it on demand with a very unmentionable person who said, I liked what they were going for. It's a good adaptation without ever seeing the original. And that pissed me off. I agree. I saw it in theaters, unfortunately. I think, I don't remember what year it came out. I think it was one of the first movies that I like went by myself to go see. Because that's a thing that I do. I go see movies by myself so that no one else bothers me. And it's actually one of the best things of just like I can just go sit in the theater and watch a movie by myself and enjoy it the way I want to. I don't have to have the one dude who's sitting next to me talking the whole time or jumping, and holding on to me, being like, oh my god. But
you just get a different friend. You need to pick one friend and
like fucking friends
and like curate them. Like I've got a dedicated. This is my superhero movie buddy. We get each other for this.
I used to do that when The Walking Dead first came out. There was me and a good friend of mine. We would go see, or we would watch The Walking Dead on Sunday nights. And then slowly but surely, we started to add like one more person, then another person, and then that person invited someone else, and then word started to get out, and so it started to be this big thing, and it got to the point where like all of the original people who were there stopped going because they were like, we can't handle this. Like, we don't like people talking or asking, well, who's that? But I thought she liked him, and what happened to that dude? And all of that stuff. And so we were just like, all right, we're done. Enough of that. But yeah, that movie was awful. Big news on the movie front.
Yeah, I'm kind of listening. I'm reading about this Cowboy Bebop casting because there's like a picture of 4 actors up at the top, and I'm like, who's this 4th character from the show? I don't even remember there being another character for that guy to be, because I've not watched the show in so long. Like, I really liked it when it was still actively, when it was more regularly in like the Adult Swim lineup. They might have even really cleaned up.
It's been a super long time since I've watched the show. I think that 4th guy is gonna play the villain.
Okay, now I'm remembering this guy. Okay,
I don't remember his name off the top of my head. Something like Vicious or something.
It says Vicious.
And I don't remember because I remember. I don't know if the show really touched on that too much or not. I'm wondering if that's the villain from the movie.
I think so. Movie. Like when I look at him and I remember that poster, I think it's the same guy. I don't know if I even saw the movie. This was a show I really loved whenever I could catch it. But this was like, it's on Adult Swim. I don't always have like a VHS tape I can set up to record because I can't always stay up that late. Like, I loved what I saw. I don't think I've ever seen all of it, and I don't think I have seen it since I was like a middle schooler.
Yeah.
I have to put I gotta put that on the list for this year.
Do it for sure. You also went to go see Us.
I did. I'd love to see a horror in theaters, it turns out. I don't think I'd really done it before last year when I went to go see A Quiet Place and then the new Halloween. I've got a buddy of mine who's a big horror guy. And I like horror whenever I see it, but I just don't have very many people to watch it with. It's no fun to watch it by yourself. Not like I get scared or anything, but just, it's like a genre I think that is very much designed to be watched in a group. Like, did you see that? And isn't this fun? And wow, the effects. And I don't want to do that alone. What's the point? So I'm having this guy
scared to scare yourself even more, all alone in a dark room. Giant monsters popping out. Who knows?
I'd like to do it I don't like to watch many movies by myself. That's probably why I watch so much like YouTube videos. A movie's a communal thing for me. Like I could watch a movie by myself, which is a half-hearted attempt at even enjoying it. Or I could watch this pile of YouTube videos that do not require a buddy. I can watch those on my own. They weren't designed for a mass audience. But so this friend of mine comes over and he's been teaching me about horror. Like, okay, we're going to watch The Thing. We're going to watch the first Halloween. We watched It Follows recently. We watched Don't Breathe. So like old stuff, new stuff, kind of all across the board. And he sent me a message saying, hey, I went to go see Us. It's so good. I would see it again if you wanted to see it. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. Because this seems like the sort of thing I would want to see in a theater and not wait for. Even if I am in the middle of like, okay, well, I just saw Captain Marvel, and then this weekend I'm going to see Shazam, and then I'm going to go see Endgame, and I might see Endgame again and again. It's like, I probably shouldn't spend more money on going out to the theater, but yeah, let's do it. It's good. It's very, very strong, very unsettling, but like in a fascinating way. I like all the stuff that came together to put this movie together.
There you go. So if you had to kind of give it thumbs up, thumbs down, maybe you want to give it a number, what would you say? Is it worth going to go see?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. What did I just tell you, Kyle?
I mean, you can be like, this is a really good movie, but maybe wait till it's a rental, or like, hey, if you can't get a group of friends to go see it, then absolutely, go rent it and do a movie night. I don't know. Like, what do you think the best experience with this would be?
I'm a social creature. I don't like to do anything by myself. But if you're a loner like Kyle and you go to the movies by yourself to begin with, yes, still go see this movie. It's really great in like a communal theater environment. And because my friend had already seen it, I'm sitting there watching the movie, and there's like just little fairly insignificant things to me, but I'll hear him gasp like, "Oh, that's right." He's like putting stuff together from the first time he saw this movie, and it was so funny that like it's just a fairly nondescript action, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, interesting." Go, huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, it was great. No, it's a really great horror movie, and if you are the more easily spooked type, I will say that the horror is mostly in the first half of it, and the second half of it's more like just sort of action thriller pursuit. Like it's less scary and more like tense, just like, okay, we have a problem to solve. We are solving the problem of escaping. But boy, like this is probably one of the best opening and ending frames of a movie I've ever seen.
Interesting.
It's really strong.
Interesting. Good to know. I did not plan on going to see it because I'm not a big horror fan.
No, check it out. I think it's got plenty for a horror fan, but it's not so deep into it that somebody who isn't normally into scary movies wouldn't like it.
I also never saw his other one, Get Out.
I've also not seen Get Out, and everybody I mentioned that to is completely shocked because they know I can get into horror stuff. And like, no, I'm not scared of it or anything. I just know that because it's so...
No. That's why I don't go watch them. Because that's the excuse that I hear from a lot of people. They're like, oh, I don't really like horror movies. They're not scary or anything. I'm like, I don't like them because I get scared. I don't want to feel that.
I don't get scared easily at all, but I do get bummed out easily. And I know this is Get Out is a movie with a lot of socio-political commentary to it. Sure. And I heard so many people who loved it. And I'm like, what if I see it and it just makes me sad? And I don't love it the way everybody else is. What if I come out of it like, I just feel bummed out and upset? Like, what if I don't have that reaction everybody else has had? What if I just don't see it? Then, I can't react bad to it if I've never seen it.
Who knows?
No, but I have been assured repeatedly, it's not a bummer. You'll have a good time. Go ahead and watch it.
We'll have to do a movie night now that you've seen Us. Be like, huh?
Yes.
Maybe I'll go back and watch that one.
Yeah, I'll invite my horror buddy over again, and we'll get that one done.
Sounds good to me. Let's see. What else? Let's keep the like movie TV stuff going here. So on Monday, Rooster Teeth had their 16th anniversary.
Oh boy, they're that old?
Yeah, they are that old. They've been going for a long, long time. They did a 24-hour only. Everything on their website is free, and you can watch all of their stuff.
Oh, okay. Not like all these t-shirts are free. All these keychains are free.
I wish. But no, so they do a lot of podcasts that end up going out on YouTube and stuff like that for free. They do some more YouTube centric videos for free, but then they have some more premium content. They've done like feature length movies, they've done documentaries and stuff like that. And I watched a bunch of their stuff because I'm like, well, I got 24 hours. I'm gonna take a break from all of the podcasts that I normally listen to, and I'm just gonna binge a whole bunch of stuff. And two of the main things I watched was Waiting for the Punchline, which is a documentary about Nick Scarpino, who is one of the hosts and co-founders of Kinda Funny, and his kind of journey into stand-up comedy. And just kind of what it I guess like what it takes to be able to do that. And it was good. It was really fascinating. I'm not a big documentary fan, but every now and then it was like, oh, I like you, I want to support you, so yeah, I want to go see that documentary.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I highly recommend going to check it out. It's really funny, and I think Kinda Funny published it on not the documentary, but on Kinda Funny's YouTube page. They had a stand-up night with a bunch of members from Rooster Teeth, of like this whole, like filming all of this documentary stuff culminated in that thing, if that makes sense, of like inspiring more members to try out stand-up for the first time and stuff like that. So they put that whole set up as well, and then I watched that, and it's really funny. So if you like stand-up and you like documentaries, highly check it out. Highly recommend it. It's called Waiting for the Punchline. I know Rooster Teeth does like 7-day free trials to their stuff, so you can definitely watch it that way. Or if you just want to go ahead and do a full month, it's like $5 for a month of all of their content and stuff. But then I also watched Genlock. This is an anime.
Okay.
That this is one of the animes that they do. They also do Ruby. If you've heard of that one. This is their newest one. It's like a sci-fi mech anime, kind of in a like a computer generated style. What was the? Remember when we did the episode of the review show on Godzilla, and it was the Netflix adaptation? Yeah, it was that style. But the main character is voiced by Michael B. Jordan. One of the other characters is, how do you say it? It's Maisie Williams.
Yes,
Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. They also have David Tennant playing one of the characters. So they have a star-studded cast on this show. It's always fascinating to me to be like, well, I don't really know how to explain what Rooster Teeth is. They do these like podcast talk show things, but then they do like internet videos, and then they do feature-length movies and documentaries and stuff like that. And so then when I mentioned, yeah, they also do anime, and like Michael B. Jordan is voicing the main, they're like, wow, they actually do real stuff. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Real things.
Yes. But that show was very interesting. It was difficult for me to watch, actually, because I both really loved it. It was like right up my alley, and everything they had in that show I thought was fantastic. But I also felt like half of the show was just not there. Like there's kind of a big reveal that I felt like happened between two of the episodes. Like it wasn't on screen. And I was very confused for like a good 2 minutes. And they're just like, wait, I feel like it's skipping episodes. What is happening? And I did some research, and no, that's just how it went. I was like, they didn't address this last episode, and all of a sudden I'm expected to know this? Like, no, that's not... who knows? So I was just like, I love this, but the things are just so glaring.
Oh, well, at least now you're like the advice for the next person who tries to watch it. That's fun. After you've gone through a narrative gauntlet, now you can like shepherd somebody else. Like I read all those Dresden Files novels last year,
Yeah.
and then I got my older brother to read one. I read all 12 of them all in a row. I think he went to 5 and he's like, I gotta take a break. Okay, gonna come back to that thing. But he texts me at like the beginning of book 3, like, did I miss something? I'm like, nope, no, that's how that book starts. It throws you right into it. No, like your Kindle didn't accidentally give you like the wrong book next in the series. You are immediately thrown into an action scene with a bunch of characters you don't know. It's fine. Wait like 3 chapters and you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. I watched a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think those 2 things were my favorite, despite Genlock also being very disappointing at the same time. Love is complicated, as they say.
I almost never have time to watch things that aren't my regular couple YouTube subscriptions and what do we have to watch for this show. I carved out a little bit of time the other week and I went on Hulu and I found the first episode of this new network sitcom called Abby's.
Never heard of it.
It's brand new. I don't think it's had a lot of publicity yet, but it stars Natalie Morales from The Middleman. Did you ever see The Middleman?
It's not ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, you hold on, because one of these days I'm going to pitch The Middleman to you for the review show.
I'm holding on.
It's great. Anyway, if you would know that show, she's from that.
Okay.
And I've really loved her since then. She's a really great performer in everything I happen to come across her in. And she was guest starring on an episode of Comedy Bang Bang this week to promote the show. And I'm like, oh, I saw there was some new sitcom coming out with her in it. Maybe I'll check out an episode just because I like her so much. Because it seems like a fairly general network sitcom template. She like runs a bar. She runs an illegal bar out of her backyard. And it's her trying to convince her new landlord to like get on her side and let her keep this illegal bar where like
Sounds
all
fun.
the locals come and hang out. Like that, okay, that sounds. I don't know if I'm big into like the sort of Cheers model of it's just a bunch of local people hanging out at a bar.
Hipster Cheers.
I think I've seen that enough times. I don't know if I need to see it again, but I like her, so maybe we'll see.
The one time that I've been to Austin, Texas, I was there with one of my old bosses, and
what?
It was like it was kind of a business trip thing that we were doing, but one of the nights we went down to 6th Street to go see all the stuff that was happening down there, because that's the big like, hey, if you're a tourist and you've never been here, let's go to 6th Street and drink a lot. And I guess around that area, there's like a couple houses that have been turned into restaurant / bar things. So that's what that reminds me of. It's like hipster Cheers.
Anyway, so it's a not terribly. I sound like I'm talking it down. Basically, like the premise is not what really sold me on the show. It's a fine, solid premise. What sold me on it is that it is filmed in front of a live studio audience outside at night. Like the show is set outside at night. She's got this bar out of her backyard.
Are they actually serving drinks to people while they film stuff?
I have no idea. Neat. I don't know. She did not provide me this information via the podcast. But they built, they've got all their set houses out there where they film. But they built the bar on the back of one, and so they're filming it outside. And because it would all be set at night, they film it at night. It's not like daylight outside and they hung a bunch of scrims to like hide the light. No, it's outside at night. Like that is something I've never heard of anybody doing. So just from a technical standpoint, let me watch the pilot episode and see how this goes.
Interesting.
It looks great. And they tell you right up front at the beginning, you know, how shows will be like filmed in front of a live studio audience. This one is filmed in front of a live studio audience outside at night. And like coming in and out of like commercial breaks, there's a big sweeping crane shot of, here's like all the risers, all the bleachers where the viewers sit and all the camera equipment. And look, there's the little set you're watching. Yeah. Oh, it was an innovation I had not seen before. And I feel like there are a lot of shows that have like really they're formatted weird, or they've got some crazy premise. And this is a fairly standard premise, but they're like, we're going to shoot this in this incredibly specific way that even if it doesn't make a big difference to you as a viewer, you still know, oh, that's different. Yeah. Now I want to watch this to see how that goes. Because it worked on me.
That makes sense. Yeah, I since we do all the podcasts here on Skype and stuff, we can't do like fancy camera shots except all of these like single things. But that would be like my dream is to have to have an actual set where we can do stuff like that and like have multiple cameras and even see if we can have like a tracking shot when the podcast starts and stuff like that.
It's
like that
gonna
would
look
be so neat.
Attack of the Show or something like that.
I don't know, something. But yeah, like that's the dream.
All of my TV references are from like 2007.
I mean, good year for TV if you're asking me.
Right before the writer's strike. Just before that kicked in.
True. I only knew about the writer's strike because of Lost.
Yep. Big impact on Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Big impact on a lot of things that year. I was super into TV at that time, and I had like multiple TV blogs I would read every day back when I had time to do such a thing. And I was very involved in how the writer's strike was going and what shows were affected and what arcs were cut short. And
so we watched Pen 15 on the review show this past week. Go check it out, thewhatnauts.com.
It's fun.
And yeah, like it banks on nostalgia. And I mentioned in our Discord, and I mentioned it on Twitter too, MapQuest. Like, who remembers MapQuest?
I remember MapQuest.
Printing out directions and stuff like that.
I held on to
mentioned, go ahead.
I was going to say, I held on to MapQuest for maybe like a year longer than everyone else, just because I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with it. When it doesn't work, then I'll try this new Google map. Then I'm like, oh, I feel like an old person. I feel like a weird old loner. I'm going to use the Google Maps like everyone else.
Yeah, but then you just mentioned TV blogs, and that made me think of TV Guide. Like going to the grocery store and seeing the like TV Guide digest thing in the store. I'm sure it's still there, but like I feel like that's another thing that like before the internet or before Google, you had to get TV Guide to figure out what was on TV that week.
I have such a deep emotional attachment to TV Guide because my dad is a TV guy. And so we always had that subscription growing up, and I'd look for it when it came in the mail every week. And I'd read it every week just to, even if I wasn't watching anything, even if I'm like 8 years old, I'm like, well, I like The Simpsons, just to learn.
Did you see that?
What's wrong with your beer?
I have no idea.
You did like a double take at your beer. What's wrong with it?
I took a sip, brought it back down, swallowed it, was going to put it down, but I realized there's a little bit more left in there, so I stopped and was about to take a second sip. But out of nowhere, it felt like it just exploded, and like it sprayed me in the face. But there was like I didn't shake it really. It just like. So who knows? As you were saying,
some crazy trick of physics. No, I'd read it all the time growing up, even when I didn't know what was going on. So I've got a lot of weird assorted TV knowledge back here. And then when I was basically from Lost onward, I loved Lost, and Lost got me into what else was going on at the TV landscape at that time. What are other dramas I can watch? Because I think Lost would have been my first drama show as like a 14-year-old. And TV Guide was there for me. I remember that our TV Guide subscription came the same day Lost came out. Like it came on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I would read the TV Guide description for the next week's episode of Lost. And it would spoil me for tonight's episode of Lost that comes on in like 3 hours. Like, oh, dang, Claire gets kidnapped. Oh, no.
Oh, man. Spoilers.
I had all the Lost episodes of, all the Lost special issues of TV Guide. I'd go to the 7-Eleven and get the other versions. I'm like, well, the 6 covers connect. I have to have all 6 covers. I collected them for a long time. Not like I went out and found them, but if I got one, like I would put it in a box. My high school senior photos, like the senior photo shoot you go to. I was super into TV. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a TV writer. So they invite you to bring like props or whatever, like, bring your guitar or, bring the tuba you play in marching band or bring your football or whatever. I'm like, I brought a box of old TV guides and here are my favorite DVD sets. And here is a little like 12-inch old TV. So there's a picture of me. It's a picture from like above, like the photographer stood on a ladder. And I'm sitting in an armchair and I'm holding a TV guide and I'm like looking up at the camera and I'm surrounded by TV guides and like DVD sets and like the TV set.
Where did you come up with this idea?
That's what I loved. That was my hobby. That's what I was going to do was TV.
I don't think
it was going to be me.
I don't think anyone in our school did anything remotely like that, where we had like themed senior portraits. Like I remember this past week, or like a week or two ago, Justine put out her senior portraits, and it's her with like an old school like Mac computer, and it's like, and it also was like a picture of her now, and it's her with her Mac, and like it, like we never did anything like that. It was just like normal pictures. Like, I mean, you would hire a photographer and go to a location, but you wouldn't be like in a studio with like DVDs behind you because you're like, I like TV. DVDs.
Well, I did. Like you had the simple like in school, just like headshot. This is what goes in the yearbook photo. And then they had a deal with like the photography company where they had a local studio space and you could go and get like some portraits taken there. And I went all out for it. I got so many different kinds. I've got like the envelope of proofs. It is in, like, I know exactly where it is. It is in my closet. I will send you a picture of that TV portrait later. My senior yearbook quote was from 30 Rock. And it was Kenneth the Page saying, "There's 2 things I love in this world. Everybody and television."
Yeah, that fits.
It really spoke to me.
That checks out. Before you said what your quote was going to be, I in my mind I imagined it being, "I'll be your TV guide."
Oh, your TV guide. No, it was that, and my runner-up was going to be "A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man," which is what is inscribed on the town founder statue in The Simpsons.
There you go. That's a good trivia question.
Oh, that's basic stuff.
Well, I wouldn't know that.
Simpsons trivia goes deep. That's like,
yes, Sam, embiggen.
That is like, it's a perfectly cromulent word. That is like the 2nd grade level.
Cromulent?
Watch one. Go find it.
What the hell does cromulent mean?
Kyle, these are I'm not going to re-explain
English.
I'm not going to re-explain a Simpsons joke to you, Kyle. You just have to go and watch that episode yourself. This isn't my job.
So that is more specifically a reference to a Simpsons episode to say it was cromulent?
Yes, this is the joke. The saying on the statue says, "A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man," and Lisa's like, I don't think embiggens is a word. And somebody else is like, of course it's a word. It's a perfectly cromulent word. That's the that's the joke, Kyle. And now it's not funny because I had to explain it to you because you haven't seen you.
But now I can be on the joke, and now it's funny to me because
okay,
it worked on me. I was like, what the fuck word is that? I've never heard of that word. That's not a word. You can't just make up words.
Of course you can.
Oh man.
But anyway, this is like very basic Simpsons trivia. I'm never gonna win a trivia. This is like
I'm not a Simpsons.
No, this is like
watcher.
a second grade question. It's like, okay, who invented the cotton gin? What's 12 times 12? What is the saying on Jebediah Springfield statue?
There you go.
Elementary.
Sam said that she told her system to define cromulent, and it took her to the Wikipedia for Lisa and the iconoclast.
That's it. That's the episode. Oh, so smart.
There you go. Moving on, though.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to talk about the Joker trailer real fast.
Real fast? Like, this isn't a discussion topic. The topic is, I saw it. Look at that. What did you think of it? I'm intrigued. It looks way more normal than I would have guessed. Like, it seems like just a kind of, like, dark drama. Not dark in that, just like kind of a sad, kind of dark comedy drama almost. Like, it does not seem like, oh, here's a movie about the world's favorite supervillain.
I mean, it's not going to be a happy-go-lucky like here the world's most favorite supervillain. It's very obviously not going to be that. I feel like it, in the most literal sense, is going to be a train wreck. Like, we're gonna watch this thing just spiral deeper and deeper. And to be honest, I don't know if that's a good thing. On one hand, I'm kind of interested. But on the other hand, it really is like I don't know how to explain it because I don't know if I can really relate to some like the whole like mental illness thing. I don't feel like I've connected with that. That's not been my experience since I've not been diagnosed with that. And I noticed a lot of people on Twitter being like, "This is gonna be a movie." Basically glorifying white men with mental illness, and I mean, not necessarily glorifying, but like in a bad way. Like, hey, Joker is a bad person. Like, it's not necessarily that he's mentally ill. It could be, but you also don't want to necessarily link the two. He is bad because he's mentally ill. That's also not a good thing. And so it's walking a really fine line, I feel like.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about it strictly as a film and the genre it's playing into. What's weird about it to me is that it looks like if you wrote down the basic premise of the Joker, like, okay, you can fit it on one of those little Post-it notes that's just like an inch across. Write down as much about the Joker as you can fit on that Post-it note. Okay. That's what they're making the movie out of. It's like they took the one sentence description of who the Joker is and didn't think about his entire history and all the different appearances and aesthetics and stories he's had. There's like, okay, here's a version of that one sentence description, which I'm not saying is bad. It's just a really interesting turn to take in that it feels so different from every other movie, like every other DC property movie. Tonally. I'm intrigued by this thing.
I think since DC started to go into the, like, hey, we're kind of having a shared universe and then failing at that, and then still having some that, like, it kind of ties in. Shazam is I haven't seen Shazam yet. I'm hoping to this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Tonight or first thing in the morning. But yeah, like it's on one hand, I'm really interested to see what they do with it, but I DC doesn't have a good track record for live action stuff yet. So I don't know. I don't want to judge it yet since it's only a trailer.
Yeah, even if it's not good, I still kind of admire that they took such a weird turn to make a movie that is not very weird. Like, it does not feel remotely comic booky, superhero-y, anything like that. It looks like just a drama about a man who becomes a clown criminal.
The character. And that's kind of what Alan Moore did with the character. Is he? It's one of those things where he gave one version of the origin story, and even then, it wasn't exactly clear what happened. And so the movie might take that kind of approach, where we just see this man's life spiral out of control. And not to say that he starts becoming bad, but maybe the person he actually is starts coming out. I don't know, and you just see how fucked up this guy is. Who knows?
I think it's bold to take one of the biggest characters in comic books and remove everything quote unquote comic booky about him and make it just seemingly just a drama.
A fucking clown.
Yeah, it's like if Marvel was like, this is just a movie about a very rich man who makes a mechanical suit. And there's no supervillains or superpowers or anything in it. It's just a man in a mechanical suit, and it's just a straight drama about him. It's not an action adventure at all.
I mean, on one hand, like, humanizing those heroes is what helps us get into them and care about them.
Yeah.
But, like, for villains, that's not necessarily, like, that usually doesn't work. Like, there's a number of villains out there that you care about because they made some good points, right? Like Magneto.
Yeah.
Magneto made some good points. Of just like you can understand where he's coming from and why he's taking the stance he is. And then there's characters like Joker, where he's just kind of this anomaly, where he really is comic booky in the truest sense of the word, where he is this over the top, larger than life, like, evil clown, and not necessarily in like a scary way. Sometimes he can be, but in maybe a more like whimsical and creepy way, and that's what makes it scary. But you also don't know, like, you don't know his origin story, and that's also what makes it scary. Like, he just is a thing. Like, we don't.
Who knows where he came from?
Yeah.
I do like that this movie isn't trying to be at all like definitive or here it is, the Joker origin story we're going to do for at least like the foreseeable future until things get rebooted again. It's just.
I think I would like it a lot if it takes that approach where it dives into what is real, what is actually happening here in this movie. Like, this guy is crazy. Is the things he thinks is happening what's actually are the things I'm seeing actually happening? You know, if they do stuff like that, that might be interesting just to see this origin story, so to speak. Like, it's an origin story that doesn't really give you a definitive origin story. But then that could also just be a mess.
I don't really have any views. Just like, I think it's interesting that they're trying something so vastly different from anything else that's out there, and something that's so much more normal.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems like such a conventional drama that just happens to be about the Joker.
There you go. So I kind of wanted to wrap things up with my Guy Fieri story that I
yes.
He reminded me of this at the start.
Yes.
I feel like I've mentioned this somewhere on a podcast some time ago. I don't know if it was with you or if it was a long time ago with Paul. But I know I've told this story to a number of people, and I find it so stupid and so funny. So when I was doing all my college tours and stuff like that, I came down here to Richmond to do my tour here at VCU. And I knew some people down here. I was still super involved in my church at the time. So instead of like staying with everyone else at the dorms, I worked it out so I could stay with some of the other like campus students who went to the same church down here. And so I got to stay with them and stuff like that. My parents came down as well, and we did all the tour stuff, that next day. But they let us out for a break for lunch. And apparently, my mom, having been her first time here in Richmond, looked up, like, what are some of the restaurants that we should eat at? Like, what are some of the good, spots that we should hit? And she found one. It's a little restaurant called The Village.
Okay.
And she wanted to eat at that one because it was also on diners, drive-ins, and dives. And
parents love it.
Guy Fieri stopped there. My mom loves cooking shows. You can go in the Village Cafe now, and they have a big poster signed by Guy Fieri. And this was like, let's see, I graduated 2009, so this would have been like summer of 2009. And I don't think Virginia had passed the law that you can't smoke in restaurants yet. It was happening that year, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't smoke, so I didn't really pay attention. But I remember that being a thing. And we get to this restaurant. My mom is super excited to eat there. It was on the Food Network, Guy Fieri, everything. It's gonna be great. And you walk in, and it's not super small, but it's crowded. And when you walk in, the first thing that you get to is the bar. It's literally right there. And again, as I mentioned, they hadn't passed a law that you can't smoke in there. So everyone at the bar is smoking. And my mom is like, oh my God, we can't eat here. It smells like smoke. It's disgusting. Blah, 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 blah. And, oh, you know what? I fucked it up. God damn it. I fucked it up. So what happened was we were on, so this restaurant is on campus. My mom did not know that this was a restaurant that was on Food Network, and Guy Fieri stopped there. We were touring one of the art buildings, and you can literally see it from one of the art buildings. So for lunch, we're like, we'll just go there. And we get in there, and yeah, it's this thing of like, everyone's smoking, we can't eat here, it's disgusting, blah 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 blah. And so
you're mocking your mom for a very sensible outlook.
I mean, sure, but like, but just like, it's this thing, like, it's the middle of summer, it's really hot out, like we haven't eaten, like we just want to eat some food, you know. And my mom's being like, I don't like it, it smells weird. you know. But so then we end up eating somewhere else. I totally forget where. My parents go to their hotel that night. I go off to stay with my friends, and that's where she happens to be watching Food Network and sees that it is on diners, drive-ins, and dives. It happens to be that episode. But here's the thing. She doesn't recognize it, and she sees that it's in Richmond, and she's like, "We should eat there tomorrow. Why don't we go there?" And my dad just has the biggest facepalm moment of just like, "That's where we were today, and you didn't want to eat there." Like, just like, God, we were there. We could have eaten there already. And so we went back that next day, and my mom toughed it out. But it was just like, come on, Mom.
Was the meal worth it?
It was. They are pretty tasty.
Yum.
Yeah, good stuff. Sam says, you said Guy Fieri, and I had to go find a clip I made, but I cannot read right now. Go find a clip I made, but it's like barely relevant. And then she said, holy shit, as I told my story. There you go. Good stuff. That's my Guy Fieri story.
Mom.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, you can. You just have to wait a day until it receives a professional recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was that. I say we wrap things up here though, because it is starting to get a little bit late on my end. But yeah, couple of housekeeping things. I've been working on a bunch of new design stuff for the Whatnauts. I've been working on our website a little bit, all our social media stuff. You guys may have seen me slowly rolling out some of this over the past couple weeks, but I took the past couple days to do some more work on all of that stuff. So there's updates on our website. There is updates for all of our like podcast cover art stuff that you see in some of the apps and stuff like that. And I finally updated the ones for the reactor core. So we have a new logo for the reactor core, which will be pretty neat. And I'm working on an animated intro for that as well. So we won't have to use the Whatnauts review show one. And eventually I want to redo the Whatnauts review show one and the Captain's Log one, because those need a little bit of an update as well. But be on the lookout for that stuff, because I'm proud of it. I like it. Good stuff. I also mentioned we did an episode of the review show on Pen 15 this past week. That was good stuff. Go check that out, thewhatnauts.com. Also, regarding the review show, we are no longer going to be live streaming it out to the public like we used to every Sunday at noon Eastern time. However, it still will be live streamed for patrons. So if you like this show or the review show, and you want to live stream it at the same bat time, same bat channel every Sunday at noon Eastern, the $1 patrons can join along there. But it's a book club style show, so that's why we were like, it's not really great for live streams unless you've read the book or you've seen the TV show and followed along at home. But yeah, so we will be putting that behind Patreon. This is still going to be streamed every Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern time, I believe is what we've been doing, so stick along with that. Patreon.com/thewhatnauts, where you can support us. Thank you to Sam and Eric and Christine for supporting us on Patreon and at the $5 level too. That's fantastic. Thank you guys so much. We are also $1 away from reaching our first Patreon goal. So if you guys want to help us out, that would be great. I've talked way too long. I need to figure out how to shorten all of that stuff, especially for this stuff, because putting at the end, I'm sure people will just tune out. Ooh. That being said, Melissa, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
Yeah. And if you guys want to find me on the internet, I am at YoKyleSpringer on all the things. Twitter and Instagram. The Whatnauts on Twitter is where you can find all the updates for this show or any of the other shows we do. And yeah. Good stuff. New episodes of The Captain's Log come out every Monday. But again, if you want to get them early, patreon.com. Go like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, tell a friend, tell a foe, sell your soul, do anything you need to do to help us spread the word. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks, Sam, for hanging out with us in the chat.
Yeah.
And yes, we are still $1 away from reaching our goal. We have a very small and humble following, so not very many downloads, not very many people get to hear most of this stuff, so we can use all the help we can get, that's for sure. That being said, this has been episode 46 of the Captain's Log. We will see you next week. Adios.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for watching that episode of the Whatnauts review show. That is not the one we just did. It is the Captain's Log. Come on, Kyle. Thanks for watching the Captain's Log. Go like, share, subscribe. Subscribe to our channel over here. Go check out the other videos that YouTube might want you to watch down there, and that would help us out a ton. Thank you very much.